happening with Memphis. We're now joined by David Teal, again, Richmond Times-Dispatch on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. So, David, thank you very much for your time. What's the feeling with Bronco Mendenhall headed to Brigham Young, his former place in Virginia, coming off a nice win?
Well, a little trepidation on Mendenhall's part, simply because this is a game he did not want to play. It was scheduled before he accepted the UVA job 6 years ago, but he has such an affinity for and history with BYU. His dad played there. His brother played there. He worked there for 13 years, and he is very devout in his Mormon faith. And he spoke eloquently this week about how the school is just a part of his fabric. And it just makes him a little uncomfortable to compete against the Cougars.
I mean, this is they've got two non-con games with Notre Dame coming up in the middle of this, and they're like pretty much half the conferences, David, right in the heat of the ACC race. Is this one also maybe one you don't want to play just to lose momentum, in that if you took an L in Provo going forward, having to play Notre Dame next week, and then you still have Pitt and Virginia Tech down the line?
Yeah, it's so peculiar, isn't it? This is the first time since 2002 that a pair of Virginia's final four games will be non-conference contests. It's just such an odd time to be playing not one, but two consecutive non-league games. And, oh, by the way, both of those opponents are ranked, which makes it even more challenging. And then you mentioned a third consecutive ranked opponent on the horizon with Pitt on the road, and then closing with your state rival in Virginia Tech. It is an arduous path, to say the least, here in the final four games for the Cavaliers, who have won their last four.
David, talk to us about Dontavian Wicks and the type of season he's having. I mean, nearly 1,000 yards at this point, closing in on 10 touchdowns as well. Just what's it been like to see the type of run that he's been having these last few games?
Absolutely exceptional, especially when you consider, guys, that he came off a year in which he was hurt and was unable to play, and then his place last season was taken by Lavelle Davis, the true freshman, who had a breakout year. And then he tears an ACL during preseason camp and can't go. And you wondered, okay, who's going to be the deep threat? And here comes Dontavian Wicks back again, averaging nearly, 22, 23 yards a catch. He really high points the ball well, did so in the end zone Saturday against Georgia Tech. He's one of the best three receivers in the Atlantic Coast Conference this season, clearly.
Let me ask you about Old Dominion. I know it's not right there, but it is basically in your backyard. What does that mean for them with the Sun Belt Conference and getting into a new conference coming up soon?
Well, it's an impeccably timed question, because I was on Old Dominion's campus this morning when they had essentially a news conference / pep rally to confirm what we all knew, that the Monarchs will be joining the Sun Belt. And, guys, this is huge for Old Dominion. Conference USA, no offense, is a sinking ship. It was never a great fit for Old Dominion geographically from the start. And now, once JMU and Marshall are finalized next week, you're looking at a Sun Belt East that will be very regionalized. You'll have Old Dominion, James Madison, Marshall, Coastal Carolina, the two Georgia schools, Appalachian State. They'll be busing to three of their six division rivals. They really like that from a cost-cutting perspective, from athlete welfare, just fewer missed classes, less time on the road, and just rivalries that their fans are going to be more comfortable with and more accustomed to.
All right. Anything else, guys? Hey, Coastal Carolina has also had a flat tire. Again, everyone's got a chance to lose the game. They've bounced back. there was a lot of hope, and obviously what they're doing with their coach there, we've had him on, Jamie Chadwell. Is that someone that they're worried about possibly because of the success, maybe leaving with some of the changes we've already seen with 5 coaches being fired already this season?
Well, I think it's certainly possible. He's going to be on those lists with these inevitable job openings that come up. I mean, one possibility, a job could come open here in the Commonwealth. Justin Fuente in Virginia Tech. What's going to transpire there? The Hokies have lost their last 3 heading into Saturday's game at Georgia Tech, and all of a sudden they're below 500. So who knows how that plays out? Surely Jamie Chadwell is going to get some looks.
Thank you very much, David. David Teal on many things. Virginia, Bronco Mendenhall playing at Brigham Young, and also Coastal Carolina. What that means to Old Dominion. There's another program because of the changes. It all started because of late July, who's going to be in a better spot than they are right now. And that's good news. They're thrilled about it.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see that Virginia-BYU game. Virginia's got a very exciting offense, and asked about Dontavian Wicks, but, I mean, Brennan Armstrong, their quarterback, is putting up just massive numbers.
Leading the country in passing.
Yeah, he's above a Texas guy in Zappi over there at Western Kentucky, who's putting up a lot of big numbers as well. But, yeah, Armstrong leads the country there, and he's thrown a few picks, but he's got 20-plus touchdowns. You know, he's going to have 4,000 passing yards. I mean, he's tearing it up, and you know they've got some good weapons there. So that's going to be a fun game because Virginia can move it down and score and big play, and we saw Baylor and BYU. You know, so kind of after watching that, and then the Bronco Mendenhall factor. That just makes for an interesting game. Makes for an interesting game for the Cougs and Cavaliers coming up. And then Virginia obviously has a little stretch after that will be a big determinating factor in how rosy things are by the end of the year.
Pretty quiet, 6-2, lost to Carolina. Got in a shootout, and then also lost to Wake Forest, and they're undefeated. Of course, North Carolina was ranked very high to start the year. When we come back, Max Olson, national writer, college football writer for theathletic.com. Marco's Pizza, 4 locations